The 99% of the world wouldn't have more money than the remaining 1%. This 1% includes the wealthiest, the creme de la creme of the society. Even if the 99% were to combine all their money together, they still won't be able to reach the same amount of money as the former. The richest of the rich have a different lifestyle than the majority. Fortunately, you won't need to acquire the same amount of money that they have in order to have the same lifestyle. Hi! Welcome to Grayson Finance. For today's video, I'm gonna share with you how the wealthy manage their money in 2022. The first method, leveraging credit card rewards. A lot of people have different opinions about credit cards. Some are against using it entirely, and some promote using it. A lot of people become indebted because of the careless use of credit cards. Having a credit card may have you face problems like overspending, high interest rates, and upfront card costs. Even with these cons, however, there are still pros to using credit cards. In order to enjoy benefits from your credit cards, you need to first understand that credit cards are not all evil. One use of credit cards is to act as a safety net whenever you don't have cash at hand. However, you must not abuse this perk, and only use it if you have the money in the bank to pay for it. A lot of credit card companies also give their users rewards to urge them to use their cards. Rewards can be in the form of points, cashback, or mileage. To enjoy rewards like this, you need to have a good credit history, and that means you need to pay balances on time. Points as a reward form in credit card companies are accumulated through meeting certain requirements such as spending levels. The points you earn may be exchanged for cash if you've accumulated enough. Cashback is when the company pays a certain percentage of the amount of your purchase back to you. Lastly, mileage usually provides discounted costs in airline tickets. They typically give you more bonus if you use credit cards when you purchase a ticket. The rich always use these reward benefits to take advantage of their credit cards. You actually don't need to be rich in order to enjoy these benefits too. Number 2. Budgeting monthly expenses. While you may be skeptical about why they still need to do budgeting when clearly they have more money than they usually know what to do with, what's the point? Well, no matter how much money you have, if you don't manage it properly, you won't be able to make that same amount of money last longer. If you take a look at the richest creating budgets on a monthly basis, then there should be no excuse for you to create a budget too. Creating a budget is one, but sticking to that budget is strictly another thing, and both should be done religiously. Having a budget as a plan will help you track your spending and enable you to make all necessary adjustments to your expenses and money allocation. Having no budget, on the other hand, will only give you financial stress, enable you to overspend your money, and create the chance of becoming indebted in high interest debt. So if you want to live like the wealthy, start budgeting now. Number 3. Reviewing and negotiating major expenses. You always hear about the advice of cutting down expenses whenever you watch or read about proper financial management to achieve financial freedom. While that advice is somehow good before implementing it in your life, you should know what kind of expenses should be cut down first, as you may be cutting down expenses on all the wrong things that don't affect your financial life that much at all. The 3 major expenses that you should focus on cutting down are housing, food, and transportation. All these expenses combined easily take up more than half of your budget. The most costly expense among the 3 will be housing. This should be the category to start with if you're planning to cut down on expenses. There are few ways that you can be able to cut down expenses on housing. First, you may opt to buy a smaller house that is just enough for you. Second, you can move to a different city with a lower cost of living. Or third, you can rent out a room. Doing these will have you pay less or none on the mortgage. Another major expense is transportation. Transportation is a necessary expense that is always present regardless of whether you commute through public transportation or a private car. To cut down expenses in this area, you can opt to bike if your destination is near enough. Another great tip is to, as much as possible, use public transportation. While having a privately owned car gives you convenience, using public transportation will save you more money. The last major expense is the food expenses. All human beings eat food to survive. Eating is a daily necessity. This doesn't mean, however, that you are unable to save just because you need to eat. One way to save money in this expense category is to cook your meals at home rather than going out. When you do grocery shopping, you can also create a list of what should only be bought and strictly stick to it, making you remove the possibility of unnecessary purchases. Number 4. Paying down consumer debts ASAP. Having debts will only put you in an unfavorable financial position. The different types of debt will have a different impact on your finance. One debt that you should hurry to pay off is consumer debt. If you're unfamiliar with what consumer debt is, it is a debt resulting from a purchase of goods used for household or individual consumption. Examples of consumer debt are credit card debts and student loans. The reason why you need to pay off this debt as quickly as you can is because this debt is usually accompanied by high interest rates. The longer time you need to pay them off, the more money you need to pay as interest increases the total amount of money for repayment. Most wealthy people have debts of their own too. They see debt as some kind of a tool and they use it wisely to get financial leverage. These people also pay their consumer debt as quickly as they can. One method they do to pay down their consumer debt as quickly as possible is by avoiding them in the first place. If you don't have consumer debt, you won't be able to worry about repayments. You can avoid this kind of debt if you live below your means and spend less than you earn. If you already have debt, the thing you need to do first, according to these wealthy people, is to make a repayment plan. Always prioritize to pay off the debt with the highest interest rate first. Always pay the minimum amount needed for every month and pay more if you're able to. Number 5. Using low-interest debt as tools. One thing to always look for if you're planning on taking debts is a debt with the lowest interest rate so you can pay it off easier. Never take debts if you're only using them for consumable items. Instead, only take debts for investments and other ways that make your money last longer. The money you borrowed should be used to help you do more in terms of investment opportunities rather than just being used for a non-profitable use. Use the money to buy assets, not liabilities. At number 6, planning tax payments. More money and assets means more taxes to pay. But for the rich, this is not always the case. Most of the wealthiest always find ways to reduce tax payments. The wealthiest may opt to hire the best financial advisor and utilize their money management experience in order to manage money effectively and save up money from tax payments. The wealthy make their income from investments and other means. This enables them to pay lesser taxes than those who get their income from employment. And lastly, number 7, using excess cash as an investment for self-development. It is highly important that you invest in your self-development. Self-development can be in the form of reading or attending workshops to improve yourself. You must always be in the pursuit of new knowledge. Invest and develop every aspect of your life in the spiritual, business, finance, or even relationships. In conclusion, to achieve being wealthy, you need to first implement these methods into your lifestyle. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, make sure to press like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell to keep you posted on new exciting videos.